Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not looking at, market trends or global events.
No.
We are dissecting a blueprint, a piece of what I call pure physical knowledge.
hmm
It's a highly structured workout routine called Day 28, Lower Body Home Strength and Endurance. And we're going to treat this not just as a workout, but as a piece of engineering.
That's the perfect way to put it. It's a system. And our mission today is really to deconstruct how this 25 or 30-minute block of time is built to solve three problems at once.
Right.
We're talking strong legs, we're talking major glute activation, and serious fat burn, all without needing a gym full of equipment.
Okay, so let's unpack this design. The sources lay out a really detailed four-part structure.
It's a progression.
Exactly. It starts with a warm-up, moves into a core strength circuit, then a high-intensity finisher, and finally a deliberate cool-down. For you listening, this is about understanding the mechanics behind it all.
And the best part is how accessible it is. I mean, the equipment list is basically zero.
It's just body weight.
Just body weight. They mention an optional chair, for the wall sit, but that's it. It's all you.
So before we get to the heavy lifting, we have to talk about that first part, the entry sequence. A 4-minute warm-up. It's 4 distinct 1-minute segments. It kicks off with marching and arm swings, then bodyweight squats, hip circles plus leg swings, and it finishes with jumping jacks.
And this progression is so intentional. You're looking at a stepwise activation both neurologically and physically. You start with the marching and arm swings.
Which feels pretty gentle.
It is. And it's critical for moving synovial fluid around. It's basically lubricating your major joints like your hips and shoulders before you ask them to do real work. It's a low-impact heads-up for the body.
So you're literally greasing the gears. And then right after that, it's into bodyweight squats.
Exactly. After that general mobility, you introduce a functional pattern. The squats, even if they're slow in the warm-up, they start firing up the biggest muscles we're about to use, the quads and the glutes. You're priming the nervous system for what's coming.
I noticed that third minute is all about the hips. The hip circles and leg swings.
Yeah.
That seems really specific.
That's a great observation. The hips are, they're the engine for the entire lower body. For things like lunges and squats, you need that rotation. So the circles and swings make sure that movement is dynamic and safe. You're actively preventing injury by dedicating a full minute just to that joint.
And then comes the jolt. The final minute. Jumping jacks, it feels like the signal that,
Game on.
game on. Exactly.
That's precisely it. The jacks are the final transition. They're higher impact, they're full body, and they spike the heart rate significantly. It's the final metabolic signal telling your body, okay, we're done preparing, now the real work begins.
It's a perfect ramp up,
Yeah.
so you hit that main circuit already primed.
At peak readiness, no shock to the system.
Okay, now for the main engine, the lower body strength circuit. This is the part designed specifically for strong legs and glute activation. The structure is very rigid, 3 rounds total, and the timing is always 40 seconds of work, followed by 20 seconds of rest.
And that 40-second number is a very strategic choice. It's all about maximizing something called time under tension, or TUT.
Time under tension.
Yeah. To build strength and muscular endurance, you need to keep those muscles working. 40 seconds is, it's long enough to be really challenging without weights, but not so long that your form just completely falls apart.
So if it were 30 seconds, it might be more cardio-focused, and if it were 50, you just get sloppy.
That's the balance they've struck. And that 20 seconds of rest, it's just enough for your muscles to recover a little bit of energy to hit the next set hard, but not enough to fully recover.
Yeah.
So you get this cumulative fatigue building up, which is exactly what you want for strength in this context.
Let's break down the 5 exercises here because they seem to cover all the bases.
They do, and it starts right where it should, with the squat. It's the foundation, the big compound movement that hits your quads, your glutes, and your core all at once.
And right after that, they move to the reverse lunge. Now, why a reverse lunge specifically? I feel like most people default to a forward lunge.
That is a really insightful question. It's a deliberate design choice. A forward lunge often uses more momentum and can put a lot more stress on the knee.
Okay.
But a reverse lunge forces you to push up and back through the heel of your front foot. And that motion drives maximum engagement right through the glutes and hamstrings.
Ah, so it's a built-in way to target that glute activation goal.
Absolutely. Plus, it's unilateral, one leg at a time. Squats can sometimes hide imbalances between your left and right side, but lunges, they force each leg to work and stabilize on its own, which helps correct those issues.
Next up, glute bridges. This one feels like pure targeted work.
It is. It's an isolation movement. It takes the quads pretty much out of the equation and just zeroes in on the glutes. But it also has this therapeutic value for your lower back. It teaches you how to fire your glutes without relying on your hamstrings, which is a motor pattern a lot of us lose from sitting all day.
Okay, then we get to what I think is the toughest one, the wall sit. 40 seconds of just holding it.
The burn.
The dreaded burn. I mean, is that mental toughness part of the physical goal here?
It's absolutely integrated into the physical result. Think about it. A dynamic move, like a squat, gives you tiny little micro rests between reps.
Right.
A wall sit is isometric. The muscle is contracted, but it isn't moving. This restricts blood flow, which causes that intense burning sensation.
I know it well.
And that feeling forces your body to recruit different muscle fibers, your slow twitch, endurance fibers. So the mental toughness is really you learning to manage that painful feedback. Pushing through that is what builds true muscular endurance.
And to round out the circuit, the last move is calf raises.
This makes the whole thing comprehensive. You're hitting the entire kinetic chain. Calf raises target the calves, obviously, but they're fundamental for ankle stability. If you're going to be jumping later in the finisher, strong, stable ankles are non-negotiable.
So 5 moves. Quads, hamstrings, glutes, core, calves, all under that 40-20 timing for 3 rounds. That's a very systematic approach.
It's incredibly efficient. But the real question is, after you've pushed those muscles with strength work, what happens when you immediately shift gears into high-speed endurance?
And that brings us to the next phase perfectly. We've hit strength, we've hit glute activation. Now for the fat burn goal, the endurance finisher.
And this is a radical change in structure. It's a physiological shock to the system. We're going from anaerobic strength work to explosive high cardio intensity. I like to call it a metabolic shock.
And the timing reflects that. The finisher is 3 movements, 30 seconds each for 2 rounds, with only a 1-minute rest between the 2 rounds.
And notice what's missing.
The rest between exercises.
Exactly. You go 30, 30, 30. That's a nonstop 90 seconds of work. That contrast with the earlier 40-20 timing is what creates that metabolic spike we're looking for.
So what are the 3 moves? We've got jump squats, high knees, and skater jumps.
The jump squat is the explosive evolution of the squat we were just doing. It demands maximum power, firing up all those fast-twitch muscle fibers.
High knees are just pure cardio. Get that heart rate through the roof.
It is. And then you get the skater jumps. This is the final crucial piece. Most home workouts are very linear, forward and back, up and down.
Right, sagittal plane.
Exactly. Skater jumps introduce lateral side-to-side movement. This forces you to generate power and decelerate on a single leg, which builds stability in your outer hips. It completes the functional circle.
So 2 90-second rounds of that with just a minute of rest, and you've maxed out your calorie burn.
That's the idea. And that brings us to the end point, which is just as important. The 4-minute cool down and stretch.
After all that stress, I imagine recovery is pretty essential.
It's not just nice to have, it's integral. If you skip this, you're just asking for stiffness and soreness. The cool down lets your heart rate come down gently while you restore the length of the muscles you just worked.
The plan calls for 4 specific 30-second stretches. Hamstring stretch, quad stretch, glute stretch, and calf stretch.
And that's not a random sequence, it's diagnostic. Notice how those stretches perfectly mirror the primary muscles we just hammered in the strength circuit.
Ah, that's a good point. Squats and lunges for the quads and glutes, bridges for the hamstrings.
Raises and jumps for the calves. It's a direct feedback loop. You're giving recovery exactly where it's needed most.
And the final minute is just deep breathing.
Yeah, and that minute is the final systemic reset. Physiologically, it helps shift your nervous system out of that fight-or-flight mode and back toward rest and digest. And psychologically, it gives you a real sense of completion. You're signaling to your mind and body that the work is done. Recovery can now take over.
So what does this all mean for you listening? We started with a routine, day 28, and what we've really found is this incredibly tight, calculated piece of engineering. It's a complete lower body session, no equipment needed, that perfectly balances strength, endurance, and mobility, all in under 30 minutes.
And the genius of it, the thread we've seen running through the whole thing, is that strategic use of timing. You have the sustained 40-20 intervals for building strength and time under tension.
Right.
And then you immediately follow it with those rapid-fire 30-second bursts with no rest in between to create that metabolic shock for cardio and fat burn. That shift is the core mechanism that lets you hit all 3 goals in one short session.
So as you think about this structure, maybe even try it out, just remember, the blueprint has its own diagnostic tools built in. We know the goals are glute activation and strong legs. So consider this. Which of those 5 strength exercises, the squats, reverse lunges, glute bridges, wall sit, or calf raises, is the single hardest one for you to maintain perfect form on for all 3 40-second rounds?
That's a great thought.
Because understanding exactly where your form starts to break down, that's your personal data point. That specific challenge tells you where your foundation needs the most work, and really understanding that weakness is the key to making this whole system a success for you.